What if one simple sentence, "I heard you want a wife, my daughter is perfect for you," changed a lonely cowboy's life forever? In this heart-touching Wild West love story, you'll witness sacrifice, trust, and a family built on true love. Watch until the end for an unforgettable ending, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more emotional Wild West stories. Montana Territory, 1887. The first cool winds of autumn swept across the rolling plains, carrying the scent of dry grass and fresh pine. Ethan Walker guided his tired horse toward his small ranch after another long day of repairing. Broken fences. Since losing his wife to a deadly fever 3 years earlier, every sunrise had begun with hard work, and every sunset ended in silence. His only comfort was his 8-year-old son, Noah, whose cheerful smile reminded Ethan that he still had someone worth fighting for. Though money was scarce and the ranch struggled to survive, Ethan refused to complain. He believed an honest man should earn every blessing through patience and determination. The people of the nearby town respected Ethan for his honesty and courage, whenever a neighbor's wagon broke down or a family needed help during winter. Ethan was always the first to arrive, yet everyone noticed the loneliness behind his calm expression. The women at church often whispered that Noah needed a mother, while the older ranchers insisted a hard-working cowboy should never carry life's burdens alone. Ethan politely thanked them. Their concern, but deep inside he feared opening his heart again. Losing his wife had taught him how fragile happiness could be, and he was unwilling to risk that pain another time. Every year the town celebrated the harvest fair, where ranchers traded horses, farmers displayed crops, and families gathered for music and homemade food. Noah eagerly persuaded his father to attend, hoping to watch the horse races and enjoy sweet apple pie. Ethan agreed, believing his son deserved one joyful day away from ranch work. The fairgrounds were filled with laughter, colorful wagons, and friendly conversations. Children ran between wooden stalls, while musicians played cheerful tunes. For a few hours, Ethan almost forgot the weight resting on his shoulders and simply enjoyed watching Noah laugh with the other children. As Ethan admired a group of prize horses, an elderly rancher approached him with confident but gentle steps. His weathered face reflected years of hard work, yet his eyes carried warmth and wisdom. The man removed his hat respectfully and introduced himself as Thomas Bennett, a ranch owner from a neighboring valley. After exchanging a few friendly words, Thomas smiled and said, "I heard you want a wife. My daughter Sarah is perfect for you." Ethan nearly laughed from surprise. He had never spoken publicly about remarrying, and the unexpected proposal left him speechless for several moments before he finally thanked the older man for his kindness. Ethan knew exactly who Sarah Bennett was. Throughout Montana Territory, people admired her gentle nature, intelligence, and remarkable beauty. She had grown up helping her father manage their successful ranch after her mother passed away years earlier. Many wealthy cattle owners had asked for her hand in marriage, promising grand homes and comfortable lives, yet Sarah had politely refused every proposal. Unlike many young women seeking luxury, she valued honesty, respect, and compassion above riches. Ethan could not understand why someone like Sarah would ever consider a struggling, widowed cowboy whose ranch barely earned enough to support his small family. Sensing Ethan's uncertainty, Thomas invited him and Noah to supper the following evening. "Do not think of this as a marriage arrangement," the older man explained kindly. "Simply come as friends. Share a meal, talk, and let the future decide its own path." Ethan appreciated the respectful approach. Thomas was not trying to force anything upon him or his daughter. Instead, he believed two good-hearted people deserved the chance to know one another honestly. After discussing it with Noah, whose eyes sparkled with excitement, Ethan accepted the invitation. though questions continued filling his mind throughout the night. The Bennett Ranch stood beside a peaceful river surrounded by tall cottonwood trees. As Ethan and Noah arrived the next evening, Sarah welcomed them with a sincere smile that immediately eased their nervousness. She wore a simple blue dress without expensive jewelry or fancy decorations, proving she cared more about comfort than appearance. Instead of acting proud, she greeted Ethan with genuine respect and knelt beside Noah to introduce herself. Within minutes, she had the boy laughing by asking about his favorite horse and listening carefully to every excited answer. Ethan quietly noticed that her kindness came naturally rather than as an attempt to impress anyone. During supper, conversation flowed with surprising ease. Sarah asked Ethan about ranch life, carefully listening to his stories instead of judging his struggles. She spoke warmly about caring for animals, helping neighbors during difficult winters, and believing that a family's character mattered more than its wealth. Noah happily shared tales of chasing calves and learning to ride beside his father, making everyone laugh around the table. As the evening ended, and Ethan looked at Sarah, smiling kindly at his son, he felt a feeling he had buried for years. For the first time since losing his wife, hope quietly returned to his lonely heart, and he wondered if God had placed this unexpected meeting in his path for a reason. Over the following weeks, Sarah became a familiar presence at the Walker Ranch. She arrived early in the mornings with fresh bread or homemade preserves and never waited to be asked for help. She swept the cabin, prepared simple meals, and even learned the routines of feeding the horses before sunrise. Noah quickly grew attached to her cheerful nature, following her around the ranch with endless questions and laughter. Ethan watched quietly from a distance, amazed that someone raised on a prosperous ranch could adapt so easily to a life filled with dust, long hours, and constant challenges without showing the slightest complaint or disappointment. As autumn deepened across Montana territory, the ranch slowly began to change. Sarah suggested planting a winter vegetable garden behind the cabin and organized the small pantry so nothing would go to waste. She repaired torn blankets, stitched Noah's worn shirts, and baked enough bread to last several days. Ethan noticed that every improvement Sarah made came from thoughtfulness rather than pride. She never acted as though she was rescuing the family. Instead, she treated the ranch as if it were already her own home. Her quiet determination inspired Ethan to work even harder, believing their future might finally hold brighter days. Every evening after supper, Sarah sat with Noah beside the stone fireplace and read stories from an old family Bible and a collection of frontier adventure books. Noah listened with shining eyes while Ethan repaired saddles or sharpened ranch tools nearby. Sometimes Sarah encouraged the boy to read aloud, patiently helping him pronounce difficult words until his confidence grew stronger. Ethan realized his son was smiling more often than he had since losing his mother. The once silent cabin was now filled with laughter, warm conversations, and the comforting sound of pages turning beside the glowing fire, making the lonely house finally feel alive again. Not everyone in town welcomed the growing friendship between Sarah and Ethan. At the general store, whispers spread from one customer to another. Some believed Sarah was making the greatest mistake of her life by choosing a struggling widowed cowboy over wealthy ranch owners. Others insisted Ethan could never provide the comfortable future she deserved. A few jealous cattle barons even mocked Ethan, claiming that love would disappear once Sarah experienced the hardships of ranch life. Ethan heard every rumor, but refused to respond. He believed that defending himself with angry words would only prove his critics right. One afternoon, a wealthy cattle owner named Charles Whitmore rode to the Walker Ranch in an expensive carriage. Dressed in fine clothes and polished boots, he carried himself with confidence that bordered on arrogance. Charles requested a private conversation with Sarah and reminded her that he could offer elegant homes, hired servants, and endless comfort. He insisted she was wasting her future beside a man struggling to repair broken fences. Sarah listened respectfully without interrupting. When he finally finished speaking, she smiled politely and replied, "A peaceful heart is worth far more than a wealthy house." Embarrassed by her answer, Charles quietly mounted his horse and rode away. Although Sarah remained confident, Ethan secretly wondered whether the rumors carried some truth. Late one evening, after finishing work in the barn, he visited Thomas Bennet to seek honest advice. Sitting together beneath a sky filled with bright stars, Ethan admitted his fears. "Your daughter deserves a better life than I can offer," he confessed. "I have little money, an aging ranch, and a child who still mourns his mother." Thomas listened patiently before placing a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. The older man's calm expression revealed both wisdom and complete confidence in the future he believed was unfolding before them. Thomas smiled gently before answering. "A wealthy man can buy comfort," he said, "but only an honest cowboy can protect my daughter's heart." He explained that Sarah had rejected every rich suitor because she desired respect, kindness, and loyalty instead of luxury. Since childhood, she had admired people whose actions reflected strong character, rather than overflowing bank accounts. Thomas admitted he had quietly observed Ethan for years, watching him help neighbors during storms, care faithfully for his son, and keep every promise he made. Those qualities, he believed, were worth more than the largest ranch in Montana Territory. A few evenings later, Ethan returned home as the sun painted the Montana sky with shades of gold and crimson. From a nearby hill, he paused to watch Sarah laughing while teaching Noah how to gently brush a young horse. Their joyful voices carried across the peaceful fields, blending with the evening breeze. At that moment, Ethan understood that true wealth could never be measured by cattle, land, or gold. The greatest treasure before him was the family slowly growing through trust, sacrifice, and genuine love. With gratitude filling his heart, he silently thanked God for leading Sarah into their lives and promised himself he would cherish and protect that precious gift forever.